I'm here today.
I'm here today.
I'm here today.
I'm here today.
I'm here today. Are you?
Are you?
Are you?
At DPS, attendance is important. That's why we're challenging all schools to increase and improve their daily attendance. So I ask again, we're here today. Are you?
Are you?
For Black History Month, we're talking to DPS principals to talk about how their school represents the people they're named after. This episode, we have Charity Adams. Welcome.
Hi, hello.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Carla Goins, and as you know, I'm the principal at Charity Adams Early Academy for Girls. I have been in the district for 30 years and the principal at Charity for 7. This is my 7th year at Charity Adams.
Who was Charity Adams and why was she important?
Charity Adams was the first African-American female to lead her battalion in World War II. That was very rare at that time, so she was a phenomenal leader.
What do students learn about Charity Adams in your building?
So my students learned that Charity, one, as I stated, was a leader. She fought for equal rights, and she was just a trailblazer. So students learn how to lead, how to empower themselves, how to speak up for what is wrong, and we are strong believers in sisterhoods at Charity.
As a principal, how do you try to carry on Charity's legacy?
So we try to carry on Charity's legacy, one, by empowering our young ladies, cultivating their unique potential, making sure that they know they have a voice, and to speak up when they see that things are not right, and to be activists.
How do you celebrate Charity Adams during Black History Month after your building?
So this year, with the movie Tyler Perry created coming out, we're celebrating her by doing a special tribute to Charity Adams, so it's gonna be really awesome. So the young ladies will do a skit from the movie, so we're really excited. It'll be next Friday, February 28th.
Why should students attend Charity Adams Early Girls Academy?
Students should attend Charity Adams Early Academy for Girls because it's a phenomenal school. It's an all-girls school, and again, as I stated, we're about sisterhood, empowerment, and just creating that environment where our young ladies are thinking about careers that haven't existed yet, so we're pushing them to be leaders. So it's just an exciting and very powerful experience just being at an all-girls school.
What makes your school special?
My school is special, one, because it's a single-gender, all-girls school, and it's the only one in the area, in the state, as a primary middle school, all-girls school. And then also, when you enter our school, it's just a very warm, welcoming environment. It's a community, and it's a great place to be and work.
We hear your commitment to learning, and we're here to extend the challenge. That's why we're asking every student, family, and staff member to be present and be engaged.
When we show up, we build a foundation here. And when we show up, we build a future.
I'm here today. I'm here today. I'm here today. I'm here today. We are here today!
We believe in the power of showing up.
So we're here today. Are you?
Are you?
Is right next to them. DB's right here next to them. Hey, everybody understand that? Let's go. Get to work. Get to work. Hey, get a break. Don't worry, I'm going to go. Hey, hard work on 3. Hard work on me. Hard work on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hard! out of here. Let's get out of here.
Hello, my name is Marley, and this school is called Rufus H. Montessori School, and the show that you are watching is called Ask the Kindergarten. Ask the Kindergartner. Okay, so what's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Miriam. What's your name? Dalton. Dalton? Yes. So, what's your favorite animal, Ashad? Lion. What's your favorite animal, Miriam? I like elephants. What's your favorite animal? A lion. What's your favorite cartoon, Ashad? Cartoon? Yes. All right, let's move on. What's your favorite cartoon? Super Kitties. Hey, why Super Kitties. Super Kitties. Why you? Ooh, I like that's that. Rude. What's your favorite? Spider-Man. Oh, wait. What's your favorite comic book, boy? What's your favorite comic book? Spider-Man. What's your favorite comic book? Not a show. Okay. Comic book? No, I do that one. All right, what's your favorite comic book? I don't have one. What's your favorite comic book? I have. And that's perfectly fine, Miriam. I have. That's perfectly fine. I have a dinosaur one. Dinosaur? That's not a comic book. I don't like dinosaurs. Raise your hand. I don't have one. What's your favorite book if you don't have a comic book? A comic book? No, it's a book like those, not a comic book. No book. Okay. A Spider-Man one. What's your favorite book? Are you scared? No, you're scared. Is that the one that's right there? No, that's that one right there with the bunny and the bear. Oh, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. Okay, let's go outside, everybody. So let's move on. What's your favorite book? Dinosaur. Why does it always have to be dinosaurs? Because I like dinosaurs. What's your favorite food? No, no, I'm first. No, you're not. I get to choose who's first. I know you ain't meant to talk back to me, lady. Oh. I will call you old man if you don't stop calling me old man. Did you just call me old man? So, okay, let's move on. What's your favorite movie? Spider-Man. What's your favorite movie? Dinosaurs. Why do I always got dinosaurs? Dinosaur movie. Wait, there's nothing. Because I like dinosaurs. That's a cartoon. Because I like dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are not a movie. Yes, they is. No, it isn't. Let's move on. Okay, I'm going downstairs. Thanks for watching As a Kindergartner. Make sure you subscribe.
So today we're having an all-city arts festival, and we have lots of music today. We have combined all of our schools together to make music performances all day today. We have choirs, we have bands, we have orchestras, and we're all here to celebrate music in Dayton Public Schools. A lot of these students come from schools where maybe their ensemble, their band, or their choir is really, really small. And so it's scary to come out and perform in front of people anyway, and especially when you're used to just a little small group in your classroom. But they've been doing a great job. I think it's a great experience for them because we all know as adults that we have to go and do some things that maybe aren't in our comfort zones, but with this group of people, their peers, they feel a little bit safer, and hopefully after this experience, it'll kind of feed a fire and they'll want to do it more and more.
Really, music can tap into that creativity that a lot of kids just naturally have, but seems to dissipate often as they get older. So we're tapping into that creativity, giving them that self-expression. So for a lot of our kids, this is their first opportunity to get up in front of people, especially in a venue this big, seeing that big smiles on their faces, especially at the end when they're coming off the stage, excitement. And you know, this is a good opportunity for them to perform and show off for their families, their teachers, their classmates, and greater Dayton community. I think Dayton Public Schools has a huge amount of talent in our district, and we're happy to be here showing that off today.
Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk to you about bus safety. Every day, thousands of Dayton Public School students ride the bus to and from school, and it's important to know how to stay safe. First things first, make sure to get to your bus stop at least 10 minutes early, and while you're waiting, stand in a safe spot away from the road. Once the bus arrives, go straight to your seat so the bus can start moving again. And remember, while you're on the bus, stay seated and keep the aisles and exits clear. Just like in a classroom, listen to the driver and follow their instructions. This includes no foul language, no sticking your arms or head out the windows, and no eating or drinking on the bus. Lastly, make sure you only get off the bus at your assigned stop, and be sure to walk home safely. Let's all work together to follow these rules and keep our bus rides safe for everyone. Thanks for listening, and stay safe, DPS.
I love that phone case. All the things in it.
I now call this, what's today, May 13th review session to order. Madam Treasurer, may we have a roll call?
President Goodwin.
Here.
Dr. Bailey.
He has an excused absence.
Mr. Lacy.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Present.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Present, and I need to leave at about 7:10 for my daughter's choir concert, and I will come back as soon as that is finished.
Okay. Mr. Walker.
He has an excused absence.
Ms. Wick,
Present.
Mr. Scott,
Present.
6 present.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and empower. Our vision is to inspire, educate, and empower scholars for a lasting impact. And our purpose is to cultivate a supportive and engaging educational experience. We have 2 recognitions that we're going to do first, Dr. Lawrence.
Wonderful. Let's go down to the front. Board members, treasurer, business manager, Lucy Mae Wyatt, and then debate winners.
Good evening, Board President Goodwine, Vice President Bailey, Board members, Superintendent Dr. David Lawrence, Treasurer Abraha. My name is Brandon Boer, and I serve as the Academic Coordinator for K-8 English Language Arts, and I am joined here by my partner, Amber Banks, Academic Coordinator for Pre-K-3 ELA. On Wednesday, April 16th, we held the 77th Annual Lucia Mae Wyatt Speech Contest. This contest has been a part of the district for 3/4 of a century. I have the pleasure to stand here this evening to congratulate the winners from both divisions of the district competition. Before bringing the winners up, I have to say that this year's competition was a tight race, and the talent that was showcased is some of the best I have seen yet. Events like these are a true showcase of what Dayton Public Schools is and what we stand for.
Without further ado, I would like to introduce you the winners from Division 1. So for Division 1, 3rd place, we have Bella Leon from Eastmont Elementary, and she read the speech, The Terrible Thing About Cindy by Barbara Vance. Second place, we had Aubrey Barney from Rivers Edge Montessori, and she read Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. And our first place winner, Jordan Lewis from Valerie Elementary, she read Humanity by Jordan Lewis. All right, let's give all of our Division 1 winners and participants a round of applause.
All right, moving into Division 2. In 3rd place, we have Kian Johnson from Horace Mann Elementary, who read Our Deepest Fear. In second place, we have Perla Mungia from Kaiser Elementary, who recited Kindness. And in first place, we have Kiri Barber from Charity Adams Early Girls Academy. We wanted to take a moment to say thank you so much for all of your support as we support and inspire, educate, and empower all of our students to reach their fullest potential.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jordan Lewis, and my speech is called Humanity by Miss Williams. A sprinkle here, a sprinkle there. Oh, don't mind me. I'm just sprinkling a little bit of humanity. It sure costs us nothing to spread a little kindness. I'm calling on all who can hear. Let's spread some compassion. Give a little grace. Share some sympathy. That way, in the end, we all win. Thank you.
The poem I am reciting for all of you today is Alone by Maya Angelou. Lying, thinking last night, how to find my soul a home, where water is not thirsty and bread loaf is not stone. I came up with one thing, and I don't believe I'm wrong, that nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. Alone, all alone. Nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. There are some millionaires with money they can't use. Their wives run around like banshees. Their children sing the blues. They've got expensive doctors to cure their hearts of stone, but nobody, no nobody, can make it out here alone. Alone, all alone. Nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. Now, if you listen closely, I'll tell you what I know. Storm clouds are gathering. The wind is gonna blow. The race of a man is suffering, and I can hear the moan, 'cause nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. Alone, all alone. Nobody but nobody can make it out here alone.
Now pass it over to our debaters.
Good evening, Board President Goodwine, Vice President Bailey, Board members, Superintendent Dr. Lawrence, and Treasurer Abraha. My name is Tiara McGee, and I serve as the Senior Academic Coordinator for Social Studies and Credit Recovery.
And I'm Diana Law, the 712 Academic Coordinator for English Language Arts.
On April 12th, we had the pleasure of hosting the annual Dayton Debate League competition at Stivers School for the Arts. This event marked the culmination of a year-long season dedicated to civic discourse, writing, critical thinking, and oratorical skill building. Our students had the opportunity to develop and showcase their talents in both creative writing and public speaking. The competition includes both a junior and senior division, and we're proud to share that this year's event saw over 75 participants, a remarkable increase from just 24 last year. This growth is a testament to the hard work and dedication of many individuals. We would like to extend our deepest gratitude to the coaches, families, Chief Sheehy, the teaching and learning team, Dr. Goodwine, and most importantly to our incredible students whose commitment and passion brought this program to life. Before we recognize our student finalists, we'd like to take a moment to honor the coaches who have guided and supported their students throughout the season. Coaches, when your name is called, please stand to be recognized. And I know that some of these coaches aren't here, but I do want to still call the coaches out for all the teams. Joshua Dean, Edwin Joe Brown Middle School. Coach Cassandra Goodwine for Charity Adams Early Girls Academy. Daryl Underwood for Wagaman Middle School. Randall Reisner for Stivers Middle School. Jennifer Marcheva and Catherine White at Belmont High School. Madeline Hayes for Belmont Middle School. Gianna Rossi at David H. Ponitz. Kevin Litton, Thurgood Marshall STEM High School. Lainey Sparks at Paul Lawrence Dunbar High School. And Kevin O'Donnell from Meadowdale Career Technology Center. Thank you all for your dedication.
At this time, we are honored to recognize the finalists of the junior division of the Dayton Debate League. Students, as your names are called, please come forward to receive your awards and take a photo with our board members. Coaches, please join your teams at the front. Let's begin with the first place winners of the junior division, Stivers School for the Arts Orange Team. Alana Beans, Anaya Beans, Ariel Yadel, Miracle Orioluna, Micah Johnson, Elise Jeffries, Savannah Cardine, Coraline Holquist, and we have a special guest joining us tonight from the Stivers Black team here supporting her peers. So we're going to invite Jordan Forley to come up as well.
Next, we will recognize the finalists from our senior division. Coaches and students, please come forward as your names are called. Jennifer Marcheva. Catherine White. Grayson Criswell. Maxwell Landers. Liam Greeny. Colton Slider. And Owen Parton.
come back. Board members, can you come back? We have one more person to recognize. Ms. Hamilton, come back.
We have one more speech participant who was not here when we called Division 1, but is here now, and we would like to bring up our second place winner, Aubrey Barney from Rivers Edge Montessori, who recited Still I Rise by Maya Angelou.
You gotta be, it's a real thing. Look at this message. All right, everyone's back. Dr. Lawrence, I believe we have some district events.
Yes, we do. Summer school is coming, and for the second straight year, we have a very, 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 very robust summer school programming, trying to avert what we call an education summer slide, making sure that students in districts like ours have summer activities so they continue their academic achievement and continue to move forward. So last year we piloted Summer Bridge, which is designed for a transition for freshmen. That's our most vulnerable grade in high school. In fact, that's where you get your senior graduation. You get freshmen right, then you get seniors right. So we piloted it last year, took some feedback from the teachers and students, and it's back this year, new and improved, and we're excited. July 28th through August 1st, 8:30 to 3 at all of our high schools and the international school. So we look forward to seeing those 8th graders who are transitioning, getting an early start. At Dunbar, all summer for summer school, June 2nd through the 26th, Apex, which means that we're going to give all students an opportunity who were not successful in some of our major courses an opportunity to be successful this summer, as well as there are also enrichment courses offered this summer as well, such as health, Spanish. You can take classes to move ahead as well. And then entering the field of educational interpreting at Paul Lawrence Dunbar, June 2nd through the 18th, and that's an exposure for students who want to be part of an interpretation team. And then band camp. Wow, band camp summer rehearsals. This is all summer. Belmont High School, July 21st through the 25th, July 28th through August 1st. Paul Lawrence Dunbar, July 21st through the 5th, July 28th through August 1st. The International School at the Residence Park, same dates, July 21st through the 25th, and the 28th through August 1st. Thurgood Marshall Band Camp, July 21st through the 25th, same thing for the 28th through the 1st. And so we look forward to seeing all of our bands practicing this summer again, a very robust summer school process. And then academic advancement at Paul Lawrence Dunbar, please see your counselor. That's for students who want to get prepared for AP courses for the next year, so they have AP work over the summer. And then choose your adventure. I love that. Choose your adventure. There's lots of adventures here this summer. Westwood Elementary School, Revival Ministries, K-5. Kaiser Elementary, our partners Abundant Life Christian Centered Ministries, serving Kaiser and Cleveland. Roosevelt Elementary School, McKinley, our partners, will be serving K through 5. Thurgood Marshall, Omega CDC, will be partnering for programming this summer. And also Cleveland Elementary School and Louise Troy, with our partners East End and Grace, supporting summer school activities. Please see the website for all available dates. What I don't see here is the Liddy program that I know has over 175 applicants, leaders in training, and it will be at Roosevelt. I think this is the 4th year of the Liddy program, and it's one of our most popular programs, so we'll make sure we get that on here and on the website.
It is on the website. There are 19 programs on the website.
Oh, you caught that, huh?
100%. Just want you to know it's already
Keep
out.
me together. I don't see it on here, though. All right, back to you, President.
Actually, I believe it comes to, we are on departmental budgets.
Oh, that is to Dr. Jones.
Dr. Jones. Safety and security. Chief Ray.
Very. A lot of summer stuff. No summer slide.
Good evening. Board President Goodwine, Superintendent Dr. David Lawrence, Treasurer Abraha, and board members. As soon as this comes up, start this review. Doing well, sir. How about yourself?
All right. What high school did you graduate
Appreciate you asking. The Meadowdale High School.
from? I thought that's why I liked you.
I hear some boos in the back, but we're not paying any attention.
That's because they're always in the back.
Only people who peaked in high school talk about it so much.
Is that why she loves Colonel White?
But yet I never mention it, but it's always in someone's mouth. Isn't that amazing? Would you like a computer just to get started?
Actually, yeah, I have it up back here.
Go ahead, grab it. We'll catch up. All right, we'll follow along with you. Go ahead.
Just a second. All right, so budget review, as you see, my dynamic executive secretary is also on there, so I definitely give her credit as well, helping me put this presentation together. With that said, move that back. So for the 28 requested budget, you'll see the actual full-time employees there go up to the 65. Actual staff members within the actual department from 62 fiscal year 2025, which was the approved budget at that time. The increase of 3 is due to allocations for the impending location that will be opening for next school year. And it shows that total non-payroll increase of the 52,000. Scroll down and go to my next slide there. As far as staffing and payroll requests, still not up. So fiscal year, it shows at the top there again, fiscal year 25, that total number, fiscal year 26 of the new 65, which again is that increase of 3 additional staff members for the new school at Jackson Center. Shows the actual job titles of who we have in the department. Myself, Chief of Safety and Security, of course. Again, my dynamic executive secretary, Ms. Keisha Johnson's on there. Safety and security coordinators, I have 3 actual coordinators, again, dynamic staff members in safety and security. School safety court liaisons, have 2 of those, the 2 vacancies that you're showing there currently. And school facility monitors. 2 school facility monitors with 1 vacancy in that area. Already said the school resource officers, which will go up to that total of 52. Next slide, non-payroll requests. Give explanations of the fiscal year budget and what the budgeting items are going to pay for or what those payments go towards. So as you see, purchase services shows the increase there on the side there. And I'll just go through what purchasing services covers. As you see, district radios, our camera maintenance, Navigate 360, which is our system that we use to document and notate our school safety drills. That information actually goes to the state, makes it a little bit more simplified for my staff to get that information in by building and send a report to the state that we have to do annually, actually monthly. When they actually do the drills, we put those into the system every time they do an actual drill. So student ID maintenance to upkeep the student IDs, NASRO training, which is our National Association of School Resource Officers. That's the training that we go through annually within the department. Our district physicals for the department, background checks that we actually do for the district as a whole. Our fingerprinting system also, which is through the Attorney General's office, covers that fee. Johnson Control, our access control. Grant writing services, I will mention we just got approved for a few grants. Just want to put that out there as well. And the City of Dayton services that we actually use here across the district as well. Different supplies that we actually have, general office supplies, of course. Again, Navigate 360, the software that we actually have up, and now we're up on the big screen. I think I like this one better. The materials and licenses are staff uniforms, which they are approved through their union contract. Student ID supplies, computer supplies, and equipment parts. So as far as equipment, the metal detectors, upkeep maintenance of our metal detectors, miscellaneous security equipment as needed and as things arise. Dues and fees actually specifically is for licensures that a few of our SROs have, which is a Dayton Special certification. And in order to hold that Dayton Special, they have to go over to Dayton Police Department to get that badge and ID and undergo a background check. So that's where those staff renewal licenses come from. So the departmental impact. As you can see, the proposed safety and security budget request is definitely crucial to ensuring a safe and secure environment, directly impacting our organizational success. This investment will not only strengthen partnerships, contracted police services, and effective background checks processing, background check processing, which again is through the Ohio Attorney General's office, reinforces our collaboration with law enforcement and ensures thorough vetting of personnel. Foster a secure environment. By prioritizing safety, we create a more conducive learning and working environment, leading to improved productivity, reduced absenteeism, and enforced community trust. Really letting me know I should have brought my readers here today. Enhanced prevention and response. Professional technical services, staff training, and updated technical equipment, which is our cameras, access control, will bolster our prevention measures and improve our ability to respond effectively to incidents across the district. Other departmental impacts: maintain operational readiness, maintenance agreements, which is a maintenance agreement we didn't have several years ago. It ensures the critical systems remains functional, minimizing disruptions and potential security breaches. Mitigate risk and liability, proactive investment in safety and security, reduce potential risk, minimizing liability, and protecting our organization's reputation and assets. So in essence, of course, this budget request is not merely an expenditure, but a strategic investment that directly supports our organizational mission and fosters a culture of safety, ultimately contributing to our overall success. And as you see, we are DPS, and I'm ready for whatever questions that you all have.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions from, go ahead, Mr. Lacy.
The increase in payroll, I forget which one it's on. It's like the first slide, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so I just want to clarify, and I'm pretty sure I know I'll just say my understanding of this. And just to clarify, it looks like we're getting 3 new employees for a $1,159,000, but that's not the case. It is because so many, a lot of our employee payroll in the past year was paid by ESSERs,
Yes,
and that will not be the case next year. So it's 3 employees plus paying for more of our employees out of general fund rather than with ESSER's grant funding. And you're shaking your head yes.
That is exact.
Okay.
Clarification. Appreciate it.
And then I'm curious about the student IDs. Student ID maintenance comes under you. Are we still going through with plans to have more uses for our student IDs?
Absolutely. He's actually directly involved in this one.
Okay.
And the good part about the student IDs themselves, their actual cost is about 3 cents an ID, which is why it's an effective program for us to utilize those. But yes, to your answer, with they're being utilized for the attendance piece.
Correct.
And on the buses right now. And we are exploring to be able to attach them to the lunchroom system as well.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
Yes, could you give me a little information on the firearms training that you have listed?
Okay, yes, the firearms training is more of a safety training for recognition and to be able to disable if something did arrive on campus for some reason or off campus. And they're at an event, it kind of gives them the ability to know how to make a weapon safe. So that's basically what that training is. It also continues their certification for those who have the full OPATA training. It's a part of the certification to maintain not only the Ohio Peace Officers Training Academy certification, but it also maintains the private security training certification as well.
And then, to follow up on that piece with the OPATA, what is the requirement for us, and then if it is different from having a need for OPATA, could you go into how does that benefit your staff to have that training if we're not requiring it?
Training is, you said if it's not required? Okay. Training to me is of the utmost importance because we invest in our people. So my biggest thing when I first came here was seeing that the department was undertrained and constantly and consistently creating trainings annually to make sure that they were trained. So our SROs are security resource officers, where the actual state term or the national term of SRO is school resource officer. So your school resource officers are trained in full police tactics and full OPATA in Ohio. So they would have that full OPATA certification. Our civilian SROs were not required to have, whether it be OPATA nor private security. But the advantage of them getting at least the minimum of private security is it shows, again, we're invested in our staff, and we want our staff to be trained at a higher level than just saying they are a security officer. With that being said, some made the decision to go through the full OPATA training, which, again, that's an advantage to us, and to continue that training and piggyback on the trainings that they do have. That's the reason why annually we go through NASRO, which is the National Association of School Resource Officers, and not just a private security training. Okay. So we up the ante on our training to make sure that they get all state mandated training for Ohio.
Okay, and then how many, two-part question, how many of your staff are currently going through or have gone through their OPATA training? And then if they go, like you said, if they go for those additional trainings, is that something we cover, or is that something that they cover themselves?
As a department, I send them through the training. The district, we pay for the actual training once they actually come on board. Right now, I'm trying to get to my drive here. There it is. All right, our current SROs, we are at we have over, yes, we're at 40 of our current SROs who have had NASRO. And with that 40, we have 9 that need NASRO. So that NASRO training, we have 9 that's going to go this year prior to us coming back to make sure everybody has the same certification. So our veteran SROs who have been here, they won't have to go through NASRO this year because it's a continued, the certification doesn't expire. Mm-hmm. Now, there are components of the certification that we continue to do those trainings, i.e. firearms, our CPR, AED, those trainings we have to continue to do. Some are 2-year certifications, which is our AED CPR.
Appreciate it.
No worries.
I won't keep you going. I'll
you
give
good?
you a buzz.
I can do this all night.
I know. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other questions? couple that Mr. Walker sent in for me to ask you because he didn't want you to miss his presence.
Oh, trust me.
So
I'm ready.
One, with the actual staff numbers, when we made the addition or the change from the coordinators, his question was, his understanding was though the coordinator positions replaced their existing positions. Is that what occurred here, or did it not occur here, or did you keep both?
We kept both. We have the 3 coordinators, which were new positions, and the liaisons were the liaison positions were still there for the 2 liaisons that we maintain. The 2 liaison positions that are on there that shows vacant will not be filled moving forward.
The 2 police liaison?
Yes.
So if they're going to remain vacant, should they be deducted from your budget?
They can be.
Okay. I feel like that was the main one. He was supposed to send them to me. That's what he said. Okay, so I'm going to have him follow up with you on anything that I forgot to ask because I truly don't remember all the things he asked.
I think the other question was, it was about the school safety court liaisons, and then his second question was, I think that's really what it encompassed.
Oh, give me 1 second. I have them actually.
Here we go.
Number 1.
Court liaison and police liaison.
Hold.
Yep. That was the one.
Can you please explain, even though you just said this for Mrs. Smith, but I'm still going to just give these questions, why we are paying for firearms training when none of our staff have firearms?
It again is a safety point of recognition and how to make a weapon safe. One thing that I don't want is someone coming across the firearm and not knowing how to make the firearm safe.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I know you said. I just want to get it again in order.
Oh, yeah.
Second question here, and if you can just explain again if you are removing, since you stated you won't be fulfilling the liaison positions, what the new count, like right now we have 65, I believe it's 2 positions that are vacant right now from that piece of it, so we would go down to 63, is that correct?
Correct.
And his question was why didn't you do a restructure instead, but
why didn't we?
why didn't you do a restructure instead of the increase requested?
We actually did a restructure with the addition of the coordinators.
That's fine. I'll accept it. It's not my question.
Thank you.
I'm just putting it on the record for him. Next, the difference between, can you give the difference again between the court liaison and the police liaison row?
Where is, looks like that's probably just, there is no difference. It's a school safety court liaison is what it's actually called.
Okay.
And those are the same.
And just to reiterate, the police liaison that's vacant is the one that you're going to be removing.
Correct.
Okay, and then finally, with the OPATA training recertification, can you just explain why we invest in that when SROs do not have police privileges?
That's a great question. I'm glad you brought that one up. So with
Thank Mr. Walker in the distance.
Oh, no worries. I definitely will. Let's get this out on the record as well. The removal of the certification for their licensure for Dayton Special came prior to me, per se. What happened was there was a detective with the Dayton Police Department who did their audit and found that if you did not possess or have the full OPATA certification, you could not become or carry a Dayton Special. There were several emails sent in reference to this finding, and those who did not have the full Ohio Police Officers Training Academy were relinquished of their licensure from Dayton Police Department. That was a Dayton Police thing that they located and found. Those of us who have the full OPATA still have our Dayton Special certification or Dayton Special licensure. So everyone that completed the OPATA training, the full OPATA training, has the Dayton Special. Those with private security did not meet the qualifications for that licensure through Dayton Police Department. Again, however, training is training. I feel we need to be trained. and we need to be trained at a high level, period. Those who don't want to be trained in this position should probably leave this position.
Okay. And can you just explain what the role, like what the actual court liaison, what they do for the district?
So the school safety court liaison, they are more of a voice for, again, SROs. They do duties such as responding to building locations and supporting the actual SRO as well. The other position, which is the new coordinators, they have a more specific role as administrators because they can do those administrative duties opposed to the duties that they cannot do as a DSS.
Okay. That is all the questions I have for you. Is there anything else? Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, so you gave me numbers on Nazaro and how many of your staff are going. Do you have numbers on how many are currently OPATA certified or how many are going through OPATA certification?
Oh, current OPATA, great question. That's an easy one. So the OPATA, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 of us that have full OPATA.
Okay.
Yeah. I retract that. There's 4 of us that have full OPATA.
Okay.
The remaining, I want to say 40 plus have private security.
Okay. So are there, in your estimation or thoughts for the future, are you planning to have more of your staff go through OPATA, or is it an either or kind of looking at it per situation?
With some of the advancements that we'd like to move towards within the department or for safety and security, I would definitely love for all of my staff to get OPATA trained. That way, again, there's some things that I want to move forward with the department, which includes a national accreditation. I'd like to become an accredited safety and security department, which is unheard of for civilian. And I think that we would have an advantage of maintaining that accreditation with all of the staff being full OPATA certified, opposed to the private security training only.
Okay, and then lastly, with that, the numbers we're looking at, are you thinking of having 3 SROs over at the alternative school, or probably quite a conversation for Dr. Lawrence and Dr. Jones as well? What are we looking at coverage for the alternative school currently?
Right now, we're still in the planning phase. From our, I'm going to call it our focus group that we had, Dr. Jones was there. Ms. Goins, we had 30 students from our seven high schools. The success coaches came up repeatedly as adults that they trusted and respected and that they could talk to and relate to. So right now we're thinking about some version of those success coaches being there at some point, parts of the day, with, of course, SROs as well. We haven't quite got there yet. We're still working through it.
Appreciate it.
All right.
That's all I got. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Our next budget presentation.
Thank you.
Ms. Joy Stokes, would you please come up? And we have Student Services. How are you today?
So Chief Wright is a tough act to follow. My presentation is very short, but to the point. So good afternoon or good evening, President, Dr. Goodwine, Superintendent Dr. Lawrence, and Treasurer Abraha, and board members. My name is Joy Stokes, and I am the Associate Executive Director of Student Enrollment. And I would like to, I'm just kind of go over my staffing and payroll requests for next year. So last year for the 25 school year, I had 12 FTEs, and for the upcoming year, I also have 12, so that has not changed. There is a decrease of $55,712 for a total payroll, non-payroll of $549,589. So I really have two parts to the increase for this payroll request. The first one is for purchase services, and it's an increase of $502,276. And then there's also an increase in supplies for $17,313, and then an increase in equipment for $30,000. And then I'll talk a little bit about both of those. The increase in the number of students educated through external providers would go up under purchase services, as well as continual digitizing of and the upkeep and storage of student records. Those two would kind of go under the purchase services, and then up under supplies and equipment, I would put the branding of student enrollment, as well as upgrading of technology to help the enrollment specialists so that they're more efficient in their duties. And it, yes, and so I'm going to talk about that one a little more as well. So I'm going to, I want to kind of delve into it because I just kind of did an overview, but with the increase in the number of students educated through external providers, that is really, when you look at our students that, when I'm very nervous, so just please excuse me. When you look at students that are being educated, like through Montgomery County, or if we have students that they may be court ordered to be educated through a private entity that we have to pay for their services. That's where that money goes. And unfortunately, we have more and more students that are being educated outside of the district for various reasons. And so that number is steadily increasing, as well as the amount of money that it costs to educate those students. On average, it's about $200 a day per student. And so it ranges anywhere from $200 to $400 an hour, a day per student. And right now we have about 2,000 students that's being educated somewhere else that we're responsible for paying for their tuition. And then when you look at the upkeep of records and digitizing the records that we currently have. Right now, we're working with AIS, Advanced Imaging, and they pick up our records currently. They're housing our records, and they're digitizing our records, our student records, so that we can access those records currently. And it's an ongoing process. And there's a monthly fee for the storage as well as digitizing the records that they're currently picking up, and it's an ongoing process. And then when I talk about branding student enrollment, one of the things that I say to people often is student enrollment is the living room of the district. And when people walk into student enrollment, it should reflect what we want our district to say about Dayton Public Schools. And right now, it does not give a positive reflection. And so in order for us to reflect what we want our district to say, we need to invest in it, and we need to put some money into making it look the way that we want it to look, so that it is reflecting what we want it to say about our students, about our employees, about our district. And so part of it is we're already changing the face of student enrollment when we talk about the attitudes of the employees, but we also need to change the way that we look in terms of the furniture, in terms of the aesthetics, in terms of the way that we dress. And so I want my staff to look professional, and so I want to invest in my staff. I want them to wear branded attire with Dayton Public Schools on it. I want them to wear blazers. I want them to look the part, because we're the only department that people see on a regular basis. Every other department, nobody sees them. I mean, other than, if they get to go upstairs, but people see us. People see us. And so if they see us, I want people to know that we're part of Dayton Public Schools, and I want them to see the professionalism that we have. And so when I talk about branding our department, part of that is branding my staff as well, because they are professional, and I want them to feel professional when they come into our office. And so that's part of it. And then upgrading on technology, because I want to make sure that when our technology breaks down, that we can still continue. So we need to invest in hotspots. We need to invest in making sure that we have equipment when we go out into the community, that we have the technology that is going to work, because we're really focusing on getting out there and recruiting students. Our next enrollment fair is May 29th, so we're really focusing on getting out into the district and touching students. One of the things that, and again, we're asking for money to do this, and so there's a big push for one of the events that I have in my head to do, and I created a proposal that I shared with my supervisor today, and I call it the comeback recruitment, the recruitment campaign. And essentially what it is looking at the students that have withdrawn from Dayton Public Schools over the last 5 years and reaching out to those families to find out why they withdrew and figuring out how can we get them to come back. And when I look at those numbers over the last 5 years, literally in 2021, we had 2,064 students that withdrew. In 2022, we had 2,589 that withdrew. In 2023, we had 2,847 that withdrew. In 23-24, we had 2,732 that withdrew. And then this year, so far, we've had 2,901 that have withdrawn. And we're not finished with the school year. So we have to figure out how do we get those babies back. And so my thought is we need to create a campaign, and that's going to cost money, right? How do we get those babies back here? And so we need to figure out, first of all, how many can we house, first of all, and then start there and start that recruiting process of how many can we get back. So again, just me thinking.
We understand your passion. I hear you. I just wanted you to know you weren't in the conversation by yourself.
Oh, okay.
We're together on that.
All right, cool. Okay, so that's it, really. That's why I want the money, because in my mind I'm thinking we need to get out there and start recruiting and getting our babies back. And how do we do that?
I appreciate it. You got to say that's exactly why I need this money. All right, thank you. Are there any questions from the board? Go ahead, Ms. Reiner, then Mr. Lacy.
Thank you, President Goodwine. Just touching back on something that you mentioned about your desire for the department to have a professional, forward-facing atmosphere as well as dress code. Later on in the agenda, we will be reviewing the first reading of a policy that went through policy committee, and I just think this is relevant to mention now. It is file GBCC, staff dress and grooming. We are in agreement that we all need to be professional and think very carefully about the image that we're presenting. Well, you know, obviously making sure that we are providing considerations for each individual circumstance. But that is in the agenda for review for first reading. So I would love if you would look that over and give me your thoughts on whether that meets the expectations that you have for your department or not. Thank you, President Goodwine.
All right, Mr. Lacy.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, I may be wrong, but you're the first person that came to us with a decrease in salary that you're asking for.
I'm sorry, please.
Say it louder. You're the first department person that came to us with a requested decrease in salary, a $55,000 decrease in salary.
Oh, yeah. So Andrew said that had to do something with insurance and, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that I didn't actually.
I mean, yeah, it's just marginal.
I didn't actually request that. It just so happened that, yeah, I didn't really need it. So if I can move it somewhere else, I'll take it.
Okay. Okay, and then
Mr. Lacy,
yeah.
I just want you to know Ms. Dinsmore also came up with a
Oh,
decrease.
she did. I'm sorry, Ms. Dinsmore. When you talk about external providers, is one example of them like juvenile court, or is that when you talk about external providers? I'm just looking for an example. Is it like ESC and juvenile court? Are they okay? And then, with regard to the enrollment center, were there plans? Were there any change in plans for their enrollment center, like a new place or anything like that, or
To replace them.
a new location, or is it just you were just planning on keeping it?
We had briefly talked about that as part of a welcome center at Jackson Center, but that's part of lots of plans we talk about, and so that's in the wind, so to speak. We have had conversations with operations around how to brighten up their student enrollment center and things that we can do. But I'm glad that Ms. Stokes has come with a budget and asked for some additional money, and I see the operations people smiling because they need the money.
And then the 12. Okay, those out of the 12, the 8, the student management system specialists, are those all work in the enrollment center? Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you. So, Ms. Stokes, appreciate your presentation. Do you currently feel that you have everything that you need in your department to be successful at the level that you know you can be?
So because I would say yes and no, and here's why. Yes, as the way we're currently operating.
Okay.
But as we begin to look at things like starting to recruit and doing things differently, because as long as we're just sitting and getting, per se, just enrolling, yes. But as we begin to move out and do other things, we're going to need more, right? As we begin to recruit and do those things, we're going to need more, a bigger staff. We're going to need a call center, people to call, volunteers, those kinds of things, because it's going to become bigger, right? So we're going to need more because we're doing more.
Yeah, and so
we're expanding because we're no longer going to just sit in enrollment and just enroll students.
And that would be my thought for, as I look even at your payroll request, is I want you to feel comfortable with that space of going, hey, the way we're doing it works for the way we're doing it now. But to your point, we have almost 3,000 children that leave out, at least 2,000 every year. Yes. If that looks like having a staff member that is tracking that, and if we're looking at some of the other options for education around the area, we see other districts where they have people that's their role is to go and look at rosters, send flyers out.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking I would like to see you guys kind of almost brainstorm and say, what would that look like? Would that look like creating a new position? Would that look like outsourcing? What does that look like in that space? Because I do think that your space has a lot that goes on, and even in those heavy times when you guys have that line coming down the hallway and out the door, that's even a different space than when you guys might have 3 interviews in a day. So I think
there's a lot of behind the scenes things that are going on that people aren't aware of as well. But you're right. As we begin to expand and start doing those other things, we are going to need more space as well. And so what would that look like? And we're going to need additional staff and of course more money to do those things. And I don't know what that would look like, but it would be nice to be able to, have the conversations around, what would that look like?
Yeah, and I would say for me, I would welcome having those conversations, because that is directly tied into also funds coming back into the district with those children. So I definitely think that's important. Then secondly, just while you're here, I had a second question around, we made some different decisions about what we're going to do at some of our buildings coming next year. Right now, have we made any changes to what was going out? Have we switched, and what does that look like for Belmont with our middle school levels enrollment right as we stand now?
Okay.
So
I don't understand the question.
Are we getting kids to be in Belmont Middle School for next year? I know previously parents did not have the option to put their children into Belmont Middle School. Do they have that option now?
do parents have the option to choose Belmont?
Yes.
Yes, they have the option to choose Belmont.
Okay. Have we?
Nobody has chosen it yet,
Okay.
but they do have the option to choose it.
Okay. And I'll follow up that with Dr. Lawrence and seeing like what are some of the things that we have there, because that would be, for me, I think that part of that reason is because at some point it wasn't an option.
Because you're talking about 7th grade, correct?
Right. Because,
Yes.
I mean, it's a school where we haven't had a year where no one chose it, and now we come into a year where it was not able to be chosen, and so now we're looking at it, it just throws things off. So I would probably circle that back around, Dr. Lawrence. I ain't gonna put you on the spot for that.
Yes, so I talked to Aaron and Judy, and there is the option to choose 7th grade with ROTC and Band.
Okay.
So yes,
Okay.
but nobody has reached out to student enrollment to choose Belmont 7th grade as of yet.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how the information was relayed,
Right. And that's an important
but I
part.
know that it has been offered,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you. I don't think I have anything else for right now.
Thank you. Mr. Scott, do you have any questions? You're a person leaving our district, and these are the people who bring people in. See if you had anything on the board. You've been quiet down there. Okay. Thank you. You did a good job. Appreciate you.
All right.
All right. And finally, before we get to our business, and we have a couple of insights.
Good evening. For the update, we want a special shout out to all of our amazing staff throughout the district. Since we last met, we have recognized and appreciated all of those that support our students' educational path in Dayton Public Schools. There was National Assistant Principal Week, School Volunteer Week, School Bus Driver Appreciation Day, National Administrative Professionals Day, Occupational Therapist Day, School Librarian Day, Paraprofessional Appreciation Day. On May 1st was Principal Appreciation Day. May 2nd was School Lunch Hero Day for our wonderful nutrition services staff. Last week was Teacher Appreciation Week and School Nurse Day. Coming up, we have School Communicators Day and Speech Pathologist Day. We wanted to say, on behalf of our administration, that no matter what your role is in DPS, we want to thank everyone for what they do every day on behalf of our over 13,000 amazing DPS students. We value and appreciate you, and there's a special shout out to all of our retirees that we recognized last night. Our elementary highlights, we just completed Spring OST, Dibbles, and MAP. We're still finishing those up. That provide us with student growth and achievement data to plan for professional development, our teacher-based teams, our building leadership teams, and planning for our students' return in August. So that's all of our data that we're going to be collecting right now. Specifically at Charity Adams, they held a garden party to celebrate the arts. There was an art show, live performances, and music. What amazing talent in a variety of showcases and use of a variety of mediums at all grade levels. Our charity girls really shined. Fairview Elementary integrated financial literacy education into their daily practice. Their dedicated staff worked hard to incorporate budgeting, savings, differentiating between essential and non-essential purchases into their lessons. This allowed students to connect financial concepts to real-world applications. Fairview is in the process of implementing class banks and even an entrepreneurship program. Their team focused on developing their students called Legacy Creators with a mindset that prepares them for a future where they're not only financially literate, but also financially free in their future endeavors. Edison Elementary held an Entrepreneurial Day last week. Students created their own businesses, made their own products, developed marketing strategies, used specialized packaging, and of course learned about customer service and sales tactics. I will tell you that both Mr. Simmons and I were there. We spent a lot of money, and I'm just going to share some of the things that our students created. Here's some of their packaging with special messages and thank yous. This is just a small part of what I purchased because I gave some away as gifts. Stress balls. Here is my own pet, rock pet. I remember this from the 70s, but don't date myself. With specialized packaging, special gifts, special thank you notes for purchasing. Also, one of my favorites was I purchased an apple green body product, and individually they came with a special note that the students created, and thanking them for shopping at their Glamour Sparkle shop. I also purchased a plant, and when I talk about sales tactics, I purchased the plant, and then they informed me that the plant was a little wet, and they wanted to know if I wanted a bag to take it home. And I said, absolutely. They said that will be $1 extra. And then I said, well, what do you mean? They said, because the plant's wet, it's called supply and demand. You have a need to transport your plant home, and I have a bag for you to purchase. And I purchased that bag, and I was very thankful because the plant was wet before I got home. So they truly learned about sales tactics. The event was well attended and so much fun for the students who learned about the world of business. All profits went to the school council in order to purchase a cotton candy machine for their next PSC event. Cleveland Elementary student Alyssa Roberts, 6th grade, won first place in the Montgomery County Recycle Arts. Her amazing art made her family, her principal, her teachers, and the whole school proud. Vehicle Day was an amazing event for DPS elementary students to experience vehicles that are tied to the career fields in and around the city of Dayton. Vehicles came: fire, construction, Channel 7 weather team, military, ambulance, and police field. Students were able to try on outfits, get into vehicles, use sirens, honk horns, and all the other gadgets. They had a blast exploring career options that are available to them in the Dayton region. The last elementary intramural event was track and field at Welcome Stadium last week. This event had the largest participation in spectators crowd, even with the cold and the wind. Shout out to Willie Bailey and Mike Triola, who are the co-leads, and to all the DPS elementary staff who supported intramurals. Soon we will be having our end of the year programming with field trips, field days, award programs, art, musical performances, and of course our end of the year recognitions and programs for PK, kindergarten, 6th grade, 8th grade. We celebrate all of our elementary students and wish them a wonderful summer. I gotta take all my goodies with me. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. I will say that I also went to Edison, and I dealt with the kindergartners who dealt in currency that if you didn't read the sign, bookmarks were $1, even though the sign said 2 for $1. But they took straight dollars for one bookmarks, and it was a whole little thing there. So I understand their supply and demand.
I bought bookmarks too, but they gave me 2 for $1, so I don't know.
They didn't like her.
I caught them at the end where they were, come on, let's go, $1.
No change.
As soon as I stepped in the building, I was out $60 in the first 10 minutes of the set. So, yeah, it's great. All right, good evening. Report for secondary. Dayton Public Schools, secondary schools are finishing the school year strong. Thank you. For the 24-25 school year, I am proud to announce that 114 DPS student scholars earned 25.5% of all the Dayton Montgomery County Scholarship Program Awards, a significant achievement and a major increase under Dr. Lawrence's leadership. Even more impressive, the total scholarship award amount grew by $106,000 compared to last year. Here's a breakdown of the award totals by school. Belmont, 19 awards totaling $72,000. Dunbar, 9 awards totaling $40,000. Meadowdale, 16 awards totaling $80,000. Ponance, 29 awards totaling $132,000. Stivers, 20 awards totaling $91,000. Thurgood Marshall, 21 awards totaling $87,000. In addition, DPS students will receive matching fund enhancement awards from the following colleges and universities: Central State University, Miami University, Ohio Northern, Ohio University, Sinclair Community College, Tiffin University, University of Dayton, University of Findlay, Wilberforce University, Wittenberg, Wright State University. With these enhancements, the total value of scholarships awarded through the Dayton-Montgomery County Scholarship Program exceeds $1 million this year. That's up from $864,000 last year. Now I want to take a moment to highlight some of the powerful partnerships and programs that focus on increasing college access and support, especially for our first-generation students. The Bottom Line program, this year-round mentoring program supports first-generation college-bound students with a GPA of 2.3 or higher. Now, in our second year of partnership with the Bottom Line, we have 130 DPS students enrolled. 80% of them have committed to attending college, and many have already received or are awaiting their college award letters. Last year, in 2024, we had 90 students enrolled, so that's an increase of 40 students this year. What makes the Bottom Line truly special is the mentorship. That mentorship continues with students through college graduation and into their college journeys. Another program is the Take Flight program. This program requires a 3.2 GPA. It's a partnership between DPS and Wright State University. Students participate in weekly programming and mentoring designed to improve college readiness, retention, and degree completion. Upon successful completion of the academy, students receive full ride scholarships to Wright State University. For our second cohort, the following DPS schools have 100% fill rate: Belmont, 20 students; Thurgood Marshall, 20 students. Another program is our Sinclair Enrichment Program. These programs provide in-school support and after-school tutoring. Current DPS enrollment includes Upward Bound, 144 students; Educational Talent Search, 920 students; Fast Forward Re-Engagement Program, 10 students; and our African American Initiative, implemented in all DPS high schools. Ohio State University Young Scholars Program, we currently have 40 DPS students enrolled, 5 graduating seniors, 18 eighth graders. Each accepted student and their families participate in an interview process to explore their commitment, goals, and post-secondary plans.
Actions involving an employee or student, ongoing labor negotiations, concerns or matters that have already been settled in, or any matter which, because of its nature, is deemed appropriate to be discussed in executive session. So with that one, I will say, Madam Treasurer, our first speaker.
Jason Balwick.
Hi, Jason Balwick, 1410 Creighton, Dayton. I've lived in Walnut Hills since 2008. I liked it so much I bought the house next door to the house I was living in 2012, and we've lived there for 17 years. Never wanted to leave. I've lived in Dayton for my entire adult life. And then Belmont High School opened. And 3 years ago, they started their marching band. We live 150 yards away from where they practice, and there's no soundproofing. It shoots at us like a Death Star. The drum practice is at an enclave on the building that's pointed right at the neighborhood. We've measured it. It's 85 decibels. That is the sound of a highway. And when ODOT builds a highway, they build soundproofing. At first, I'm a curmudgeon. I'm just an old guy who works from home. At first, I thought that it was just me. And my wife came home one day and was like, man, this really sucks. And then I talked to my neighbor, and they were like, yeah, this is terrible. And then I talked to my other neighbor, and they were like, yeah, this is rough. So it's not just me. It's the neighborhood. So I've talked to the school, and they don't return my calls. I call, leave messages. They don't return the calls. I don't want the band to stop practicing. I just want them to use the space a little better, maybe move behind the school, move inside the school. They started practicing at like 8:30 on Saturday mornings, and please tell the band director that the sound resistance of the building you need to close the door. He got a call and had the door open, and it was real loud. Woke my wife and I up at 8:30 on Saturday. Let me get back to my notes. So at this point, it feels like nobody cares. And I'm not here being like, I'm a taxpayer, and I'm not here trying to throw my weight around as a voter. I'm a resident of Walnut Hills, and it's loud, and it goes on for like 4 hours a night, sometimes 5 days a week, and it just doesn't stop. We need some help. Who here remembers 1989? In 1989, the United States invaded Panama to go after Manuel Noriega, and Manuel Noriega ran off to a monastery. And the government, or the U.S. Army used loud music projected at him for hours and hours and hours, and it feels like that's kind of what Belmont's doing to my neighborhood. Just so if we could work together to kind of make some kind of amicable agreement to where the noise is kept down or the practices are shorter or something, that would be awesome, because it's unbearable. And that's all I got.
Thank you. I believe Dr. Lawrence is actually going to have someone talk to you so we can get more for you. So I'm going to let him direct that.
Thank you so much.
Yep. As soon as you walk through the door, you'll see him. Mr. Simmons, he's waiting on you. Okay.
Aaron Mullins. Aaron Mullins. Nilo Vettel. Nilo Vettel. Okay. David Alkison. Wow. Joe Belmer. Joe Belmer. I don't know. Jason Balwick. No, he did. I did. Maria Wisnat. Cherise Grimes.
Greetings. My name is Cherise Grimes, 4233 Artery, Dayton, Ohio. Hi, board member Dr. Goodwine. I know you. Hey, Dr. Lawrence. And board members. So I come to you all tonight. I am outraged. I'm outraged and saddened with the efforts that has been put into making sure that one of the best and longest reigning supervisors will not be here next year. I am outraged because where was this effort when he was in the hospital and his work was piling up? Where was this effort when he was made to cover dispatch, pick up children, and do other duties while his work was still piling up? There are 6 directors at transportation. We don't need that many, but to hold one person accountable for department failure is insane. What is more insane is the lack of support from his colleagues. Where has this world come to where we are okay with watching people fail and wanting them to fail? I don't want to waste my time reflecting on all the wrong other directors have done, because we all make mistakes. We all have our shortcomings. That is why collaboration and communication is necessary. The district is supposed to value culture, customer service, communication, collaboration, and commitment. Or was the 5 C's just for a shirt? Mr. Jackson, he values all 5 of those. He's been committed to DPS for 33 years. And here I am praying that I make it to 10. He stayed committed through constant change of management. He's never complained or been bitter because he didn't get picked for a job. He came every day. Even yesterday, he stayed from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. I've never seen anybody else do that. Never. No other director do the things Mr. Jackson do. I'm scared for the beginning of next school year without Mr. Jackson. I'm nervous not just for me, but for the community, which should really be a 6C. because the community is important, and they will be affected by this change. No one has the compassion or commitment that Mr. Jackson does. He leads without wanting acknowledgement. He's not doing it for a photo op. He does it because he cares. And you don't find this type of dedication overnight. He doesn't mind staying late, coming early. He's full of knowledge and experience and have saved the day in transportation many of times. This is a huge piece of the puzzle that you all are voting to eliminate tonight. He has been too good to this district, 33 years. That's why this bothers me so much. He never quit. He never made questionable decisions that would harm the district. It doesn't seem like the goal is to improve transportation at this point, because with this decision, you're taking away an important piece that keeps the department running every day. We support Mr. Jackson. We love Mr. Jackson. I'm sorry if I went over my 3 minutes, because I could definitely say more about him. 3 minutes is not enough time for 33 years.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you everyone who spoke tonight. Dr. Lawrence, your first recommendation.
My first recommendation.
Turn your mic on.
You know, get me together. I'm just going to leave it on. My first recommendation, I recommend approval of the following administrative appointments for a vote.
Can you explain what's the name disappeared?
Yes, A11 was on your screen. A11 was on your screen. If you've not refreshed, it's missing. I ask Ms. Kidd and Ms. Davis to please remove A11.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. Are there any questions on the motion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right, first, could I have A5? Would like to have that discussion in executive session. Then can I have A7 for a separate vote?
All right. Any questions? Anybody else? I'm asking anybody else. All right, seeing none, can we vote on a 1 through 12 minus 5 and 7?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Miss Reinhardt is not here. Miss Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
Thank you. On A7, I'd like to pull it though for us to discuss in executive as well. So it can come back. Your next recommendation?
Human Resources for a vote, DEA after July 10th.
So moved. Second.
It's moved in second. Any questions?
Who moved it?
Wick- Yeah. Wicker Lacy, either way.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna ask if we can pull this one to discuss in executive too. Thank you. All right, your next recommendation?
I recommend approval of the following certified appointments.
So moved.
Second, moved by Mr. Lacy, second by Dr. Goodwine. Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Miss Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
Hold on, before you go forward, I actually need to do a motion to reconsider because we need to waive one of our rules because we voted on items 13 and 14. So we need to waive because it's outside of its time and then revote. 13 and 14. See what I'm talking about? Yes, so we need to waive our rules and then vote on it. So I'd like to do a motion to reconsider the whole vote. On, actually just on 13 and 14 in this section.
A motion to reconsider.
Just second me. Just second. Moved to second.
Okay. President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Miss Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
Thank you. I like the motion that we waive our ability to do a reconsideration and change our recommendation since we are outside the timeline. So waive our board rule. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Dr. Goodwine, second by Ms. Wick. Any questions on the motion? All right, seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Miss Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
Thank you. Is there a motion to accept Dr. Lawrence's recommendation on C 13 and 14?
So moved.
I'll second it. Moved by Ms. Wick, second by Dr. Goodwine. May we have any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
okay, Miss Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
I recommend approval of the following classified appointments.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Lacy, second by Ms. Wick. Any questions on the motion? All right, seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
okay, Miss Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
Your next recommendation?
I recommend approval of the following classified exempt appointments.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Lacy, second by Ms. Wick. Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Miss Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
I recommend approval of the following supplementals.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Dr. Goodwine, Mr. Lacy, second by Dr. Goodwine. Are there any questions on the motion?
One moment.
President,
One second, just looking through it real
Okay.
quick. I just need to make sure the name's not on here. All right. You good, Mr. Smith?
1 second. I think I'm good.
Yeah, I don't see yours either. All right. May we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Miss Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
All right. Your next
I
recommendation?
recommend approval of the following athletic supplementals.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded.
Second by Mr. Smith. Moved by Mr. Lacy, second by Mr. Smith. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Miss Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
Right. Thank you. The budget information is there for you. Dr. Lawrence, I believe you have another recommendation for us for a vote.
I do. I recommend the approval of the following resolution. Dayton Education Association Master Agreement. Actually, I have 2 of them. For the Freshman
Yeah,
Academy, 2
first one,
yes.
let's start
Mhm.
All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Moved by Mr. Lacy, second by Dr. Goodwine. Are there any questions on the motion? I don't have a question, but I want to say congratulations on us getting, I believe, as Dr. Lawrence has said many times to me, in record time, that this is a good move that we were able to get this completed before the school year is over. So thank you to everybody who worked on this project and got us to conclusion. All right, seeing no questions, Madam Treasurer, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes, while I give a small applause for Ms. Spurlock. Appreciate you.
Miss Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
All right, your next recommendation?
Can we switch B and T?
Yes, go ahead.
Yep, let's do it. Resolution for the Freshman Academy for a vote.
All right, is there a recommendation? A motion?
So, second.
Moved by Ms. Wick, second by Mr. Lacy. Are there any questions on the motion?
So, Dr. Lawrence, can you give us a brief overview of how this would look like and where all this would be at?
The Freshman Academy will be at all the schools, including Mound Street, and it's a direct investment in the ninth grade experience. I've sent a message to the board in my weekly update. Mentioned earlier today that if we don't get freshmen right, we just can't get the graduation right. We currently are 8th among the 9 Ohio 8 school districts in graduation rate, and that's not something that you fix in 2 years. It's something that you fix in 4. So you start now. And so at each school, we'd have designated freshman academies with designated teachers with an additional supplemental, because there'll be additional work to be put in at the freshman academy space in order to make sure that we matriculate and have those kids move on to become sophomores. And of course, then, like I said, changes the graduation rate. Again, currently 8th out of 9th, and you got to start with freshmen. We have freshman seminar training, team training, also summer bridge. I mentioned earlier in the programs we're having this summer, these same teachers will be part of the summer bridge program. So the freshmen will meet their teachers early in the summer before they even hit the ground in school. And that familiarity will also breed success, we think, for the freshmen that are incoming next year.
Okay, so for me, as this being something new, as we're also trying to do some other new things in the buildings, like for instance at a Thurgood, where we're trying to really get the STEM stuff off the ground, does this in any way in your mind interfere with that? My thinking, the way I'm looking at it is, I would be much more comfortable finding a space to do the freshman academy in a couple of spaces and see how it's working, see how we move it, instead of universally putting across it and trying to fix things on the fly. But for the first part, I want to ask you that part.
I don't think it impedes the work at all. We can do multiple things at the same time. We have been actually working on this for quite some time. We've talked about it it's a derivative, a function of what high-performing school districts do to focus on freshmen. It is something that I think for us comes from a curriculum instruction research standpoint, and it's something that actually has been done before, and we don't think we have to kind of walk this out. We think all the students, all freshmen deserve the success now. You mentioned earlier, Ms. Spurlock and I working on the contract together. We actually taught in a freshman academy at your alma mater together. And so we've seen versions of this and its success over the years. We're saying, why not move forward and have it be successful everywhere? I was just at Stivers this morning. They've already, again, made plans. I was just in Ms. Daniels' room, and she was getting ready to move so they can get the freshman wing together. The same thing at your alma mater, Meadowdale. I haven't been out to all the other schools to see where they are in terms of the movement. But there have been, I can't count the number of team meetings with freshman teachers, with the principals that have them selected. Ms. Dooley's been involved with having the scheduling. I mean, this has been an all-out effort by the entire academic team to make sure this rolls out smoothly.
Okay, I had a couple more, but I'll let some other folk go if they had questions.
I do. I kind of want to strike some language in here.
Okay.
So one, this is, just to clarify, this is for training for the staff who would be serving in this role, correct?
That is correct.
This is not actually saying, well, I want to strike Section 3 because I don't know what the Freshman Academy is yet. I've gotten glimpses, and I think we're supposed to find out more next meeting when the Ford NGL team is here and the rest of your curriculum team is to talk to us about it. So I don't know if I can say I openly support it yet. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And that line
All right.
says the board deeply appreciation to the Freshman Academy team for the partnership. And yeah, I don't know if I appreciate that yet. So that piece right there. Second, do we have the staff members identified at each school? So we have these actual teachers certified?
Yes. They've been identified at all the schools.
Who are they?
I don't know them. I know,
Yeah,
I know they've been identified.
Oh, my fault. I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off,
that,
Madam
that was it.
President.
I just wondered.
Oh, yeah, because that was the next thing I was going to say, and I'm glad Dr. Goodwin went to Section 3. My other piece was looking at not only Section 3, but then following into Section 4, not knowing what we're looking at. So that commitment bonus, I don't know the number of teachers. I don't know the number of staff.
It's not general fund. It's
Yeah,
coming
this is-
from
No.
this is- It's titled though. It's
I know
stuff
it's
they have to
titled from, but I'm
spend.
thinking,
and we have to spend those
It's a
title
timeline.
dollars.
yeah, we got to spend it. I know we have to spend it, but also looking at how are we spending it and are we spending it in the best ways are also that. I do also agree with like Section 3. Well, no, I agree with changing the language in Section
Yeah,
3.
we just strike it.
Like, yeah, I'm more so, I have a deep appreciation for the need of the work we have to do. Which then also,
Actually, I like that better.
I can't tell you that.
I mean,
Okay,
Strike it.
well, okay,
like-
let's strike it then.
because I think a lot of that, my thing is that Freshman Academy also ties into whatever we're doing in 8th grade. So I think that's going to be a huge thing. If we're not doing it in 8th grade, it's going to be hard to get
And
over
you,
it.
you just said something that made me think about something, Board Member Smith. In addition,
do it all the time.
our academic action plan. We've talked about this for 2 years. I've been on tour talking about our focus on 8th and 9th grade, starting when I was an intern. So this is just the work.
It is the work. So,
Can I strike one more thing? Because I know I asked you guys this when you got it, but I do want to strike out Thurgood Marshall's name in here because I'm still want to know how this helps their STEM get off the ground more so, and I just don't want to name them in there. Just want to put like Dunbar or somebody else.
yeah, like,
Not
do,
a problem.
that's my thing is, do we is there a need for us to vote on it today if we're going to have Ford NGL next week with 7 board members here? Like if there's a timing piece attached to it.
There is a timing piece attached to it. I didn't know 3 board members wouldn't be here. There is a timing piece attached to it. We have really strict deadlines set by the president of the school board, Dr. Cassandra Goodwine. So
man,
we
I'm worried about her.
And as a former president, you know how those deadlines work. We just trying to keep the main thing the main thing. That's all.
Come on, man. So with this, you're saying this right now is it moving the work or is this allowing you guys to move the title funds to do the work?
It's a lot. We need the funds to do the work. And so we're continuing to move the work, but we need the funds to do the work because we're already past the May 1st deadline, and I've had some conversations with the DA president, your former baseball coach, and he's been at the Freshman Academy meetings, and he's really receptive to the process as well. So we need both to move the work forward.
Well, I think I'm also in agreement of, I think taking out, I don't want it to look as if we're looking at, because it's naming Thurgood.
Right.
But I don't think we need to name Thurgood. Like,
we can strike that.
like I think
our thinking was to just.
I think it cuffs us when we're doing it like that,
Okay.
and then we're putting it like we're gonna just do that there, and it might look like a different piece at Thurgood with this academy piece alongside of them getting the STEM off the ground. Because I think my thing is looking at it, and I get when we say all means all, I understand what you guys are saying, but I also understand all of our buildings are different, and some of the needs are different. Some of the directions are different, and I think sometimes that difference is a good thing. And so being able to have that, whatever we're doing, I don't want a blanket thing across the district. I would like, if we're going to do something, letting it be able to be permeable through whatever they're trying to do in that building, the work that needs to be done. And I think if we name Thurgood in this, it caps us in a way that I wouldn't feel comfortable moving forward with.
Yeah, we can gladly remove that. And I'm going to speak to your piece about blanket. There is no blanket. Some buildings have 7 periods, some have 6. Thurgood typically is on an A-B reverse block every other day. They're having some conversations around going back to semester blocks, but none of that would change the direction of the STEM. And we're actually adding additional resources to Thurgood, directly focused on that STEM certification itself. And you and I will talk about that, but also it does not change the direction of their academy, but there are academies everywhere based on different schedules.
Right.
So it's not one size fits all.
Because you know some crazy folk out there, when they say all means all, they basically saying you better treat everybody the same way.
Well, you are, let's see, you were supportive. You and 7 other people here that were really supportive that we.
It would actually be 6 other people, that's why my math is better than yours, but I'm good now.
All right.
All right. Any other questions?
So are those things struck out, Dr.
I'm actually
Gilmore?
going to ask whoever made the motion, I'd like to amend it to strike section 3 and strike out Thurgood Marshall from the resolution. You accept my amendment?
I accept the amendment.
Thank you. Now they are.
Okay.
All right. See another question? You got? No, section 4 is fine.
That section 4 is fine. Now,
money.
I would like your clarification of what you would want to do in section 6. That was my last piece.
He's going to take the necessary and appropriate things to effectuate the resolution.
I know Dr. Lawrence might take that and be like, you know what? We might have to do this now to do it.
You want to strike? I mean, you just come back with another resolution if you get out of pocket.
You want me? I can change section. I can change section 6 to just keep the main thing. The main thing, kids. That's what we're going to be working on.
No, I don't like my words everywhere.
Okay.
All right. Madam Treasurer, are you
I'm good.
Madam
We'll
Treasurer?
come back if it ever get out of pocket.
Right. And Madam Treasurer, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
I'll allow it, yes.
okay, Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Powerful.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
Thank you. Before you go on, I'm going to jump to the treasurer in the event that I lose another board member and we're out of quorum. Can we go to A for you, please? Your recommendation?
I recommend the approval of the following. Resolution for creation a capital projects fund according to Uniform School Accounting System Fund number 070. This resolution, a resolution establishing a capital project fund, Uniform School Accounting System Fund number 070 for the purpose of accumulating resources for the acquisition, construction, or investment of fixed assets pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 5705-13C. By opening this fund is not like the other funds restricted. If we accumulate some resources, we can move it back and forth from to general fund or other funds as needed. That is the reason why we are trying to open this fund to accumulate for capital projects.
Oh.
So moved.
Second. Moved and second. Are there any questions?
Good.
Seeing none, Madam Treasurer, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
Thank you. I'm going to skip again. Dr. Jones, can we come for B and C, which are for a vote?
Thank you, Madam President. I recommend ratification of the following athletic agreement with DPS via a homeschool student.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Miss Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
All right, your next recommendation?
I recommend ratification of the following resolution regarding summer wages for eligible transportation bargaining members.
So moved.
Second. Moved in second. Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Miss Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
Thank you. Let's appreciate you. Jumping down to new business. One more thing to vote on, and let's make sure. I recommend the approval of the following resolution authorizing for internal budget reallocations and position title adjustments within existing department budgets. Amendment to Resolution 25007. Is there a motion? Is there a
Second.
Moved in second. Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Miss Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
Thank you. Dr. Lawrence, is back to you. B.
Instead of a presentation, I'd just like, excuse me? Oh, I'm going to have Carrie and Gina come up and talk about it. Yeah, just give us a little overview of this math 6th grade adoption.
All right. So essentially, we've been working this entire school year to find a math curriculum that supports algebra readiness. We're talking about freshmen tonight. We know that success with Algebra 1 is very important for predictor of graduating. So we have used the board recommended adoption process to review materials. We had a committee of all stakeholders involved, and we, based on our findings, we recommend Carnegie Learning Middle School Math Solutions as a curriculum resource to use in our 6th, 7th grade accelerated and 8th grade classrooms starting next school year. Is there any questions? I can get into more detail.
Question for you.
Sure.
Those are the books out there, correct?
Yes, so all of the piloted curriculums are out here, and then also Carnegie Learning, which I just spoke of, is out there as well.
And they will those also be sitting over at Ludlow in the hallway?
Yes.
Further?
Yep, we can move them over there. We don't have Savvis and Vision over there. That's what we currently use, but we did consider it as materials that we're currently implementing and just use that. They don't have an updated curriculum for us to consider that we needed to pilot. So just know that was also consideration with the adoption.
And with these ones too, what will happen to our existing books?
So as far as like disposal of the materials or getting rid of the
Yes.
materials. So that's something that we will work out with Dr. Miller, who is in charge of our textbooks, but we have not made a plan for that yet.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions for anyone else? Well, thank you.
Thanks, ladies.
All right, thank you.
All right. Your next recommendation for review?
Consultant services.
All right, are there any questions on consultant services?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Can you give me a little more information on what the students at Kaiser would be doing? Dr. Lawrence?
Sure. So, Brother Robinson, who actually every time there's an award ceremony, he and his kids are up here, Actually, come on up, Ms. Burlock. You can talk more about it in detail. I know. Oh, well, I mean, you know, you're not talking about it every night.
Principal Robertson has had this dream of taking the back portion of Kaiser and turning that into a space as an extended learning opportunity for students, that they can do things outside, such as gardening. They also have a space for nature exploration, also an area with a nook for reading, and just taking the learning that's sometimes in a classroom and taking it outside so students can be hands-on. And so this is a dream that he's had for a number of years, and anytime if you go over there, he can walk you through it with his vision, just by looking at that outdoor space. He is so excited to bring this opportunity for his staff and for his students of Kaiser.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Burlock.
Thank you, Ms. Burlock. Mr. Robinson and I started 29 years ago together, and he told me on day one that was his dream. So just so you know, I've heard about it for a long time.
I gotta hurry up. What happens to a dream deferred? Get it together.
All right. Any other questions? Seeing none, your next recommendation for review?
Contracts for review. Contracts for review.
All right. Any questions on the contracts? Give you guys a second to check them out. I'll give you one on the American Driving School. Just kind of jumping into a 3-year, seems like a lot. Just a little bit more detail on what we are expecting to get from this contract. Is it able to, if it does not suffice our needs in year one, are we able to get out of this contract? And kind of, have we looked at our transportation professionals to be actually able to perform the services that we're seeing here?
This is in addition to that. It's kind of a symbiotic process. Yes, we can get out, and then also we have looked at the drivers. I don't know if we can do that or not. I think Dr. Jones's people have to speak to that. I don't know the schedule of the OBIs and how busy they are, or other people who may. It doesn't have to be OBIs. It could be other drivers who have a sparkling record who want to be driving instructors.
Well, several of our, I've been on this kick about.
But you like to,
I get out here.
You got it.
I've been on this kick about our administrators being able to get into the classroom. Sometimes we have on the transportation side, several of them actually are already trainers for Class A's, motorcycles, Class B's. So I'm sure that they probably could also have the criteria to become driver ed instructors, and it would just be a good way to allow, if this is something that the department wants to take on, to allow them to be a part of the classroom experience in a way that they are true professionals already at.
On the academic side, we would love to see Dr. Jones and Mr. Anderson and Thomas and the whole team out there as driving instructors. That would be wonderful. Mr. Gray and maybe even Mr. Rayford too.
He looked up at you like, come on, man.
He was texting it to us.
So yes,
Yeah.
just would like to see some follow-up if that is even an opportunity that the transportation department is even interested in, and if so, if it's something that we could actually have in-house versus outsourcing this as well. Any other questions on contracts? All right. Does that conclude your recommendations?
That concludes my recommendations for vote and review.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer. We are at B. Your first recommendation for review?
I have a certificate of estimated resources increase. The reason why we are increasing this certificate of estimated resources is to transfer to Fund 070 for capital improvement, capital projects of 20 million, and Fund 13, 100,000. That is the only one change we are having on that one. Do you have
any questions for the board?
Okay.
All right.
The next one is I have appropriations for fiscal year 2025. That one is let me go back. The increase on this one is the to appropriate Fund 070 for the amount of resources. We discussed it on the certificate of estimated resources for 20 million for capital projects under the plan. And the other one is increase on Fund 13 for that 100,000. Those are the only changes we are having. Do you have any question on that one?
Any questions from the board? No questions. Your next recommendation?
The next one is transfers. We are transferring from general fund to 013, which is Welcome Stadium, 100,000. From general fund to Fund 070 for capital projects, 20 million. Okay.
Any questions? All right, your next recommendation for review?
Next one is advances. We are advancing from general fund to the grant funds, all the listed grant funds. The reason why we are advancing is until we get the money to grant funds, we are advancing it from general fund. And when the grant funds receive the money, they will pay general fund.
All right, any questions? All right, your next recommendation, which I think the next two are placeholders, correct?
No. These ones are temporary certificate of estimated resources for fiscal year 2026. So on this one is, these are estimated for next year. So what we are estimating for general fund, the estimated unreserved cash balance is 109 million. What we expect to receive from taxes is 75 million. From other sources is 155 million to general fund. When we say other sources is the state foundation.
Any questions? All right, your next one?
The next one is temporary appropriations for fiscal year 2026. Okay, it's getting slow. So the appropriations for 2026 is for general fund 279.2 million, what we are estimating to appropriate. And for special revenue funds, 31.9 million.
Any questions?
I didn't finish yet.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
Okay.
I thought you paused.
Capital project is 36 million. Enterprise funds, 19.4 million, which is the enterprise funds are fund 006, which is the food service fund, and 009, uniform school supplies and Welcome Stadium. So 19.4 million. For internal service fund, 34.1 million. For trust and agency fund, 20.8 million. Total appropriations for fiscal year 2026 is $435 million. Do you have any question on this one?
No questions.
Okay, we'll go to the next one. H, I, and J are a placeholder. We are still working on them, and we will have a presentation about the 5-year forecast and approve next week. If you don't have any question, we'll go to K. K is minutes. Minutes for March 11, minutes 18, March 18, April 8, April 15, April 17, and April 26. I don't think you will have a question on this one. We'll go to the next one. L is donations. We have two donations from Ohio EPA for science department, material donations worth of $5,000. Another one is for anonymous donor, Office for Exceptional Children, 40 cases of diapers worth $1,200. Thank you, donors. Until I send the letter, thank you letter, thank you for now. The next one is M. M is purchase requisitions. They are from different departments. Let's look at them, and if you have any question, we will answer them.
Any questions?
Okay.
All right.
Next one is then and now. We have two then and nows from other departments. If you have any question, there are three of them, not two.
No questions. All right.
That concludes my recommendation for tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Jones.
I just want to make sure that this is for review, not vote, right?
That's correct.
Okay. I'd like the board to review a lease agreement for a building located at 1516 Stanley Avenue.
If I may.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Jones.
Good evening, sir.
Can you tell me what are your plans for this property?
We have an inordinate amount of files that we need to store and convert eventually into a digital space. Also, we have grounds equipment that becomes damaged throughout the year because of weatherization. And so this is a space where we can store files and store equipment throughout the district. We have a storage problem, a storage issue in the district, and so this would help alleviate some of those issues. Also, as you know, I have moved my office over to Hyde as well as IT. We had an inspection performed a couple of weeks ago, and the files do need to go.
With me?
Certainly.
No. Check it out, that's all.
Okay.
Appreciate you, sir.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, ma'am.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Dr. Jones. All right, so we actually have one more thing to vote on. We have a policy for first and second reading. This policy did come out of the policy committee. We're a little late on getting it done because we did not have a quorum last month for policy. So it is there for you guys to check out, but in so much as the Board of Education, actually this is for first and second readings and for a vote. In so much as the Board of Education is committed to the continuing updating of its policies, rules, and regulations manual, and the committee, which was appointed, has been working towards that goal. The following is brought at this time for simultaneous first and second reading in compliance with Board File. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, hereby accepts and adopts the following policies, which has been codified for inclusion in the Handbook of Policies, Rules, and Regulations. JEFB, release time for religious instructions. I move that we adopt policy JEFB. Is there a second? Second. All right, any questions on the motion?
1 sec, it just popped up on mine. I had to
Go ahead.
refresh. Cool with it. All right, I'm good.
All right, seeing no questions. May we have a vote? It was moved by me and second by Ms. Wick.
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
5 yeses.
All right, policies for first reading. Insomuch as the Board of Education is committed to the continuing updating of its policies, rules, and regulations manual, and the committee, which has been appointed, has been working towards that goal. The following are brought at this time for first reading in compliance with Board File BFC policy adoption. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of Dayton City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, hereby accepts and adopts the following policies that have been codified for inclusions for the Handbook of Policies, Rules, and Regulations. BBA, School Board Powers and Duties. GBCC, Staff Dress and Grooming. GCBAB, Salary Placement of Contract Terms for Principals. GCBBA, Sign-On Commitment Policy. GCBG, Longevity Pay, Professional Staff Position, Administrators, Supervisors, and District Support Staff. JEFEB, Release, actually that one should not be on there. JFG, Interrogatives and Searches. KBC, Media Relations. KBCA, News Releases. These policies are being read for the first time. As such, a motion or second is not required. The policies will be available in the superintendent's office for review and comment prior to the second reading and adoption by the Board of Education. Furthermore, the policies will be reviewed by the superintendent's office, the board office, and the legal department of Dayton Public Schools prior to the second reading. Any questions on any of the policies there? Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, so the first one, BBA, what is, it says it's been revised for district preference. What is the change involved in this? Or is, what is the revision?
The change added the business manager to the school board duties to hire, and it also added the business manager and kind of what they do to it. And most of the revised ones are adding the business manager existence into them. And then in media and release and news release, it gave the business manager and the treasurer the ability to also speak on matters that relate to the matters that are under them.
I thought they already do that.
They do not. It's not in our policy, so we added them in.
But I mean, we've had them.
We violated our own policy.
I mean, we do that.
Which is why we're updating the policy.
All right, secondly, what is the need or what precipitated the dress code changes? Just looking at that, I don't really see I don't know. For me, it creates more of a constraint than it does positivity. So if someone can share, like, what is the need for changing this and having a dress code that is more restrictive than our surrounding districts?
For our organization, our current dress code is one line. So to actually add some clarification and give our supervisors some guidance, that's the extended one out there. And it also incorporates some of the things that they have done there. So I would just encourage you to compare the existing one to the current one. And then also for our union individuals, they have already individual dress codes that are in some of their agreements. So it's just a variation to give some guidance.
Right, but I mean, my thing is it, to me, it goes to a level where, like, if I'm in some of these positions and I'm now saying I have to have this business professional dress code, but I could work around this area in other districts and not have that, it goes against some of the things that we talk about of being restrictive to our people and putting ourselves in a good position. Because I know if I'm a staff member and if it comes down to those things, like, it puts us in a position where I don't think you can legislate it. I think it's conversations in each space of what that looks like. I don't think that it should be for us to go and legislate and say these folks should wear business professional at all times, then put this unless otherwise, yada, yada, yada. And then we'd have to be on this level of always trying to pick and choose when people can wear these things. When I look around the area and I see high-performing districts that do not bother with these things, I just don't get why we would want to hop into that, and that doesn't pop up in districts around us that have higher scores than us. I'm much more concerned with our output than worrying about what people are wearing every day, as long as it isn't just outlandish. And I think right now it's like you're swinging that pendulum up to where it's, I want my people to wear this every day, when it does not affect the work if they're doing that. And I'm looking around my area, and I went and looked up other areas. I can go to Oakwood, not looking at that. Kettering, business casual. Northmont, business casual. Vandalia, business, and then I'm Dayton Public, business professional in some of these roles. And then we have these, unless these people say it's okay. I don't know. I just don't think it, for us to go that far, it's a lot of other things we could worry about. That is all.
All right, any other comments? All right. Mr. Scott, since this is one of your 2 last meetings, I will give you comments before we go into exec session.
So, I haven't came to a couple of the past meetings, but I was thinking about what I could say. And, you want it to kind of be profound or something eloquent in a way. And so I'll try to establish that today. And so I did want to talk about the future of public education in Ohio, but also like nationwide. Firstly, some of you may know that the Ohio Senate is considering many cuts to numerous things. One of those is the elected number of officials on the state school board of education, as well as in House Bill 96 proposing an increase of $226 million to public schools, which sounds pretty good on the surface level, but then you look at how much money we actually need to fully fund all public schools in our state, and it's like around $600 million. But then you look at what they're also funding in their budget, and they can find $600 million to secure bonds for a new stadium for the Cleveland Browns, and they can find a similar number for the voucher programs. And I think that the priorities are not being allocated appropriately. I believe, and I know it's a right for public education to exist, and people deserve that. And so that should always be the main priority. And we're allocating upwards to $500 million to private institutions where we have little to no control over what's being taught in the schools. Meanwhile, we're not fully funding our public education system. So that's a big one. Again, going back to the fact that public education is not a service, it's a right. And that always hasn't been the case in this nation. We can look back to many times in our history. Take the Gilded Age, that's about 100 years ago. And for much of that, education was a privilege. It was reserved to the wealthy. And most working class families could not afford to give their children an education, especially not all the way up to the 12th grade level. And so we saw the consequences of that. There was widespread illiteracy, child working, and families who were in deep inequality. And so when we seen free public K through 12 education being brought into our country, we've seen higher literacy rates, and we've seen more equality. But there are people today who want to convince you that public schools are broken and that they are beyond repair, that they're indoctrinating students with woke ideologies, or that they're a waste of taxpayer money. But this is a trap, people, because once public schools are gone, those voucher reimbursements will disappear soon enough. And what is left is a system where only those who can afford it can send their kids and get an education. But that's exactly what they want. They want an uneducated workforce that does not question, does not think critically, and does not have any options. So let's be clear. When they talk about diversity and inclusion are threats to us, it's not. In nature, we have biodiversity where it keeps our ecosystems alive. In society, inclusion builds a stronger, more empathetic community. And equality just means recognizing that not everyone is born at the same starting place, and that some people may need more or less support to reach the same finish line. And that's not unfair. It's a necessity to keep our society functioning.
Yes.
But there is a path forward, because we cannot become complacent. And most times, the most powerful thing a person has is their voice. And the most effective tool of oppression is often silence. And so I urge each and every one of you to speak out, to stay informed, and to defend public education, not just for today's students, but for generations to come. And I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. So I'm going to skip down to executive session because we have 2 personnel things to take care of that require a vote. Pursuant to section 121.22G2 of the Ohio Revised Code, I move that this board go into executive session. This meeting is being held to consider the employment, dismissal of a public employee. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacey,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Ms. Wick, Mr. Scott.
Yes.
6 yeses.